Hey guys, my name's David, this is Sweetie, and this is Unbound, and welcome to the inside of my travel trailer. I am all finished with the projects that I came to Rose's dad's house. Rose's generator, I finally got that thing running like a top. Huge shout out to Adam, the professional generator tech that lent me some knowledge that I desperately needed to get that generator running. And also the solar install on her RV is completely finished. Everything's tested and everything's working perfectly. And so my time here is done and I'm leaving today for Oregon. And so I just thought, I would share the checks that I go through on the inside and the outside of my trailer and on my truck, so that I know I'm gonna have a safe journey. I know when people first start RVing, it's really popular to have like an actual checklist that you can go through because there are a lot of things and it's really easy to forget some things that gonna cause problems when you're on the interstate. And so if you're new to RVing and you're unsure of all the little things that you should look for before hitting the road, or if you've been RVing for a long time, then maybe there will be just a little nugget in here that I share that, you realize, yeah, I should check that too. Starting here on the inside, the first thing that I check once everything inside is packed up is that everything has been taken off of the counters, anything that's hanging on the wall has been taken down, and I put everything down on the floor. Or if it is fragile, like my computer, my monitor, electronics like that, those go on my bed where it's soft and they won't get damaged. And that, I don't leave anything up on my counters. I've got some wall decorations on my toiletries in the bathroom. Those all go in the bathroom sink. I've got a lot of stuff because I am a full-time RVer. I live in my travel trailer full-time. And so, once everything's all packed up, I'll do a once-over and make sure that everything is down on the ground. I didn't forget anything. And this is what the inside of my travel trailer looks like when it's all packed up. You can see everything just goes down onto either the floor or the bed or in the bathroom sink. Another thing I always make sure to check is that my Max Air Fan's lid is closed. This is a big one and it's something I've seen a lot of other RVers forget. I'll be driving down the interstate and I'll either pass them or they'll pass me and one of their vent hoods is opened. And it's probably not the hugest deal because, they typically open backwards, but having them open while you're, cruising down the interstate over 60 miles an hour, they can get broken, damaged, and also bunch of debris and road dust and stuff is gonna come in through this vent and just get your bathroom super dirty. And so, always make sure to close that and lock it. I also make sure to check my water level before hitting the road, and it's especially crucial before long multi-day trips like what I'm about to do. The trip I got ahead of me is just over 450 miles, and so that's 9 hours of driving, and so it's gonna take me 2 days to get out there. So, I need to have water, and right now I'm on E. I have ran out of water on some long cross-country travels, and it's always a pain because, you just want to keep cruising on down the interstate, and then you stop for the night and you need water to drink, brush your teeth, take a shower maybe, and don't have it. And so you have to then go find water or go without it for the night and then get some in the morning. Huge pain. I'll also go through my entire travel trailer and make sure that everything that has a door or a latch is closed. So all of my kitchen cabinets, my microwave, my refrigerator, and especially my bathroom door. I don't want that thing slapping around and busting a hole into my wall while I'm going down the road. And these kitchen cabinets are especially critical because I've got all my dishware behind here. It's plastic. I don't have anything made of glass, but I have had plastic bowls and plates fall down onto the floor and break, shatter. Make sure your cabinet doors are closed. It's also really important for me as a full-time RVer to always know what my battery percentage is. And so I just give that a quick check right before I leave. And I'm at 72% battery and I have 920 amp hours of total storage. And so I'm totally fine. And between here and Oregon, over the next couple days, my solar will get me all the way back to 100, so no worries there. But before I leave and get back to camping in the forests and the mountains and lose access to a jack stand here, I am going to install this Timbren suspension enhancement system onto my truck, which is going to greatly improve how well it handles while towing my travel trailer. These Timbren rubber springs reduce sag and sway and increase handling while you're towing and hauling when they're installed. They help reduce unstable loads due to rear squat, which can cause difficult handling and sway issues that can create unstable or dangerous driving conditions. Which is exactly why I want to install them onto my truck, because even though I have a heavy-duty 3/4 ton diesel, I've got my trailer hooked up to it, which is 600 to 650 pounds of tongue weight. I have a 400-pound ATV in the back, and I have a 75-gallon water tank. And so when that water is filled in the ATV and the weight of my trailer, that can cause a bit of sag in the rear of my truck, which unloads my front tires that I use to steer, obviously. And when I go over big bumps on the interstate, I can feel some bucking and chucking at that hitch point on my trailer and truck. And that has made for some interesting situations, but by having these installed, it should take care of that problem completely. And what's awesome about this system is that it just replaces the factory bump stops in the rear of your truck. Installation is incredibly easy. It comes with all of the hardware you need, and it takes like 30 minutes, if that. All you have to do is jack up the rear of your truck, support the frame with jack stands for safety, and then lower the truck down onto those jack stands so that the rear axle can hang. Remove the rear bump stops, and for my truck, that's just 2 nuts. Place the Timbren Aeon rubber spring and bracket into place. Mount the assembly to the truck using the existing holes and the hardware that Timbren supplies. And then lower your vehicle back onto the ground, and that's it. You're done. Assembly and installation is incredibly quick and easy. So when I learned about these, I knew that this was the system that I wanted on my truck. And you can see in this video clip exactly how this system performs when in use and going over bumps, and exactly how the progressive spring rate on these Timbren rubber springs works when in action. And that is what's so great about them and why they increase ride quality and comfort, because they have a progressive spring rate on them, whereas your factory bump stops are really just there to keep your axle from crashing into the frame of your truck. So if you guys want to increase your ride quality and increase your safety when you're towing your travel trailer or fifth wheel, and you don't want to have to run air lines, worry about air pressure or leaks like you would in an airbag system, I'll go ahead and drop a link in the video description below so you can check out this Timbren suspension enhancement system for yourself. And they even come with a 100-day money-back guarantee. And so, I mean, you really can't beat it, guys. And then the last thing on the inside I do is I make sure that all of my roller shades are pulled up. That I have roller blinds in all of my windows, and so just like the bathroom door, I don't want those slapping around while I'm going down the road. So I just go around to all of my windows and make sure that they're all pulled up. And this is why it's important to double check. Look, that one didn't go up all the way, so that's why checking is important. And then moving to the outside of my travel trailer, the first thing I check is that all of my stabilizer jacks are lifted up and that the blocks that they rest on have been put away. You don't want to forget any of those behind. And then just like on the inside, anything that has a door, I check that it is closed and locked, and that includes my front door. I lock my front door when I'm going down the road because it'd be pretty bad if that thing swung open going down the road, or if my storage doors opened and what I have in there just came spilling out all over the freeway. And when I'm at the campsite, I typically have X-Chocks installed between my tires here just to stabilize my trailer. But I don't need them here, but that's another check I do. I make sure my X-Chocks are off. And my levelers, I've got Anderson levelers, but again, I didn't need them in this particular spot. I make sure that those are off and put in the back of my truck. And on the rare occasions that I have hookups out of sight, I will double check that my shore power cable is put away properly. I then move on to making sure that the blade valves on my waste tanks are both closed and the cap is tight on the end. These are almost always open when I'm on site because I don't have a black tank. I've combined my gray and my black tank into just one huge gray tank. And so having both of these blade valves open and this one on the end closed, my gray tank just kind of backfills into my black tank. And so before I leave, I always make sure that those are closed too and this cap's tight. I'll then move to making sure that my awning is completely rolled in and closed. It'd be terrible to go down the road with that thing flapping around and tearing. And my awning arms are just a little bit bent too, and so I have to kind of straighten and then push in this one side so that it seats properly. And something that's extremely important to check is your tire pressure, especially for long hauls like I'm about to go on. I always check the tire pressure in all 4 of the tires on the travel trailer and my 4 tires on the truck. Underinflated tires is one of the biggest contributors to tire blowouts because heat kills tires. And if your tires are underinflated, then they're gonna get hot rolling down the road. After all these years, I've never had a tire blowout. I've been full timing for 8 years now. I've traveled well over 100,000 miles towing, never had a blowout, so check your tires, guys. And the reason I do it on the truck too is because the tires on the truck are really expensive all-terrain tires, and having them properly inflated is going to increase the lifespan of those tires, and you know, that's really important to me. It's also really important to check that your lug nuts are torqued properly on your towables. I don't do this before every single trip that I take, but I probably check the torque on those 3 or 4 times a year. And you know, that's just important for not having a tire fly off while you're going down the road. I also like to know how much propane I've got before a trip, because if I gotta overnight somewhere and need to run my furnace, and my fridge also runs off of propane, you know, I don't want my food going bad or having to do a cold night without the furnace, so I don't have any gauges, so I just do the tap test. That tank's empty. That tank's full. So I know I've got plenty of propane, but now I know since this one's empty, I'll need to stop somewhere and get it filled while on to my next spot. These tanks also weren't tight. It's another good check. There we go. And then once my truck and my trailer are hooked up to each other, I'll just check this whole area. I'll make sure that my tongue jack is all the way up. I'll make sure that this latch is positively connected and my lock is on. And I'll also look up under this, this connection to make sure that the cup that comes down when you latch it is positively engaged with the ball. Just because this latch is down in place doesn't mean that that mechanism hasn't fallen apart or something, so that's really good to check. And then I also check my chains, my emergency breakaway cable, and my electrical connection from the trailer to the truck. And then the last thing on the outside of the trailer is I make sure my step is up and in place, and then my front door is locked. And then next on my truck, I'll make sure that after my truck has had some time to warm up, I'll check the oil to make sure that it has plenty of oil. You know, my truck's a 2004, it's 21 years old, so it burns a little bit of oil, so it's good to stay on top of that, especially before long trips. And I'll also check that I've got plenty of coolant in the reservoir. I'll check my power steering fluid, and with my engine running, I'll check the transmission fluid as well. And then the last thing I do before I load the pets up into the truck and get ready to go is I just make sure that this door is closed, latched on both sides, and of course, lock it too. And then the final last few checks that I'll make is that I've got my earbuds in the truck with me in case I need to make any hands-free calls. And I've got my Bluetooth speaker, because again, my truck's a 2004. Can't connect to my phone to the radio, to the sound system in there, so Bluetooth speaker for music. And this last one, this might sound silly, but I always make sure that Sweetie is in the back of the truck and that my 2 rabbits are in their travel cage in the back seat of the truck as well. You know, I never go down the road with any of my pets in the travel trailer since the suspension on this thing is just so bouncy. It would be a horrible time for them. And then the very, very last check that I make is I will pull my trailer out of the site just a little bit to fully expose the entire area that I was camping in. And I'll just do one last walk where I just kind of scan the ground, scan the whole campground just to make sure I didn't leave anything behind. I have found things that have like fallen on the floor, or I forgot a wood block, or you know, something silly like that. And so yeah, just for some peace of mind, I always do that one last check. But those are all the checks that I go through before hitting the road, especially before long travel days. And yeah, throughout this whole process, I was actually getting ready to leave. And so yeah, I really hope sharing my checks with you is helpful. And also, if there's something that I'm forgetting, please leave that down in the comments. Help me out. If I forgot a check where you're like, whoa, guy, you want to make sure of this, then yeah, I would really appreciate that. And if you like this video and you want to buy me a beer, or you want to buy Sweetie some dog treats, then you can go through that QR code right there. Or I'll also put a link in the video description below also. But yeah, we are ready to go. I'm gonna load the pets up and we're gonna hit the road. And I'll see you guys next time in the forests in Oregon. And I'll also report back to you guys on how the Timbren suspension enhancement system I installed performs. I'm really looking forward to some drastically improved towing conditions. But again, my name's David. This is Sweetie. And this is Fate Unbound. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! You say bye to the people? Good girl. Good girl. All right, pup, let's go. Let's hit the road. Come on.